In your experience, like I think Smriti ji, you have seen it all, like from being on television as a star to being recognized by World Economic Forum for your achievements, to being the youngest women to be appointed in Rajya Sabha, and now a very powerful voice of women, a very powerful minister. So, what is your advice to the participants over here? How
Women don't
should
need
they?
advice. They know exactly what they're doing. I think that's another problem. जब भी औरतों का जमावड़ा होता है, किसी को माइक दिया जाता है, कहता है इन औरतों को एडवाइस करो. अरे एडवाइस देनी होती तो यहाँ बैठे होते. और ये कभी कोई मर्द मर्दों के लिए नहीं करता. Why I say this in jest that men need advice, there's genuinely a need to have a conversation around the fact what happens when the power shifts in a family system or in a relationship, even if it's not a family. How many men are comfortable if suddenly the female partner ends up making more money? How many men are comfortable if their entire demeanor is defined by how popular the partner is in her professional field? This is a serious issue. Because if we do not correct this, it impacts the kids in the relationship who are watching that balance of power. The other issue, and why I said that men need a little bit of advice, and even women do on this one issue that I'm about to say, is when you negotiate contracts. I think we tend to have that little fear which just comes out कि अगर मैंने थोड़ा कम नहीं बोला तो मेरे हाथ से चला जाएगा. You see, I have said this yesterday also, and I said it just was a happenstance. But the problem is that when a woman is in her 20s, she's told she's inexperienced. When a woman is in her 30s, she's told, अरे अभी तो बच्चा हुआ है या तो अभी बच्चा होने वाला है. When she's in her 40s, she's told कि अरे वो 20 वाले को तो कुछ सिखाओ, उसको experience चाहिए. When she's in her 50s, she's told कि अरे वो 30 वाले को थोड़ा mentor करो ना, तुमको तो मिल गया जितना मिलना था. When she's in her 60s, she's dead. Professionally. So, this does not happen to men. The second part, apart from negotiation and this age bracket challenge we have, मैंने आज तक किसी मर्द से ये नहीं कहा I deserve this respect. I have cared less. तुम रिस्पेक्ट करो नहीं करो, मुझे कहाँ पहुंचना है वो निर्धारित करो, मैं पहुंच जाऊंगी. Life is too short. If your life revolves around what other people think about you, I have one life, I will live it on my terms. I will sometimes mess it up, but it's my responsibility. But when I win, it is my victory alone. औरतों को हमेशा कहा जाता है घमंड मत करना, तुम जीते मतलब हाँ आई वांट टू थैंक पापा जी, मम्मी जी, सास जी. नो. How many of you have seen Snoop Dogg? You have? Go and on Instagram see one reel of his where he says, I want to thank me. And I think that's what we need to teach, because women are quintessentially polite. They are quintessentially warm. They give space to many things and many people in their heart. But we have to now inculcate this way of life, that it is okay to begin with me. I define me. My relationships, people in my life do not define you. The minute you can't start saying that, I started saying that when I was 17, I got whacked for it. I said, koi baat nahi. So I think men or women, if you can do that and have that great sense of self-respect, you tend to respect everybody else around you.
Yes,
so it's
absolutely.
not a female thing, it's a human being thing. Do that for yourself first, and you'll have respect for everybody you talk to.
Ma'am, you talked about, even if you achieve success in any field or whatsoever, you should take credibility, for your own success. But now, I mean, no matter what industry you see or what sphere that you actually think about, a lot of people, including men and women, there are a lot of times they take credibility.
Somebody else's work.
Sorry?
They take credit for
for other people's success.
Yes, it happened to me.
Yes. So I just want to know your, 2 cents on that, and how does one deal with that, considering it
I
happens.
think that is a skill set that people need to get. It's happened to me.
Right.
So I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think that the smart thing, why do I look at Ankhi all the time? Because that is a one skill set I want to learn from her, which is what? Is to never deny people their credit.
Mhm.
But I think that ultimately such individuals stand exposed because excellence genuinely doesn't, you can't hide it for long.
Right.
So it is, yes, one of your greatest tests. I have had people run with my stuff and I'm like, oh, and then not succeed or half succeed and come back to me and say, kaise karna tha? I'm like, so I think that apart, when we talk about counseling and skilling, that's the one skill we need to learn. How to be smart about our engagements. How to, without arrogantly professing it, let our superiors know. Because ultimately they will know. Many a times they may miss it. It is incumbent upon us, and I think that's where technology works. That you have many platforms where you can exhibit your talent. But this actually is the untold truth of professional life. So a gift that you can give to the generation ahead, one is to be a boss that does not deny credit. It happens in the guise of teamwork. The second is to teach somebody how to be smart enough to get that attention to their work, no matter how small that contribution is. Because you can carry a lame duck only so far. But if you have survived that, then you'll be the biggest success in your vertical. That also I have discovered. Because let me just take you back to when I said women should learn how to negotiate, right? So one of my good negotiation tips, if you may so call it, but experience. So when I started Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi, I used to get 1800 rupees. That was my contract. The guy who played Mihir used to get 10 times more. But when I came in, I had no job. So I was like, 1800 rupees lao bhaiya, abhi paise nahi hai. Because just before that, my job was, I worked in the first McDonald's that opened in India. And I used to do jhadu pocha there. They used to pay me $1,500. So for me, that $300 meant a lot. But that 1 year of kyunki, I sat down again at the negotiating table. And I said, I wanted X money. He said, how dare you? I said, well, I proved myself. And I said, Mihir badal sakta hai, Tulsi nahi. Yes, ma'am.
Indeed, a pleasure listening to you, ma'am. You've been such an inspiration for every woman, I would believe. Myself is Advocate Juhi Arora, I'm practicing in Supreme Court. I would like to hear some suggestions and challenges in the coming year in the legal, women in legal especially.
Why women alone?
Women in legal, ma'am.
Yeah. But why women alone? I think that is another disservice we do to ourselves. That when you subscribe a challenge, don't only say that it is your challenge. Because then people will presume that only you should provide the solution. So challenge is for a particular class of people. I'm not saying gender. Let's say an economic class of people. Or an academic class of people. Or a geographical class of people. Because I think as a woman, that is what I would like to bring to the table. That I have, in terms of efficacy, these tenets, or for that matter, these attributes. If you want to keep me at a job, what is it? We have to be bereft of emotion when we look at our progression as a professional. So instead of asking for a solution for a class of people, would you like to individualize it and say, what can I do better? But if you want to do something for your gender and include children in it, what can you do better for that? I can give you a suggestion. The government has opened close to 1,063 fast-track courts across the country, of which 400 fast-track courts deal only with POCSO cases. The rest deal with cases with regards to women who are raped or women who are victims of violence. If as a legal community you can come together and expedite the victim's disposition in court. कितने विक्टिम्स ऐसे आते हैं, सरकार ने कोर्ट बना दिया, सरकार ने अधिकृत पैसा और व्यवस्था दे दी, लेकिन वो उस लीगल मैकेनिज्म पे निर्भर करता है कि अगर विक्टिम कोर्ट में आया तो क्या आप उस दिन उसका डेपोजिशन ले रहे हैं?
Correct.
या हम कह रहे हैं अरे वापस जाओ, 3 दिन बाद आओ. Can you imagine the trauma for that victim just to come to court that day? If you can just help us fix that, I think that's a great tribute on behalf of your fraternity to the community at large. The second issue, and I'm saying this because I've had the privilege of working with the Chief Justice, and there are many who have served that I've had the privilege of calling family. The second aspect that you can do, we know that during stages of investigation, and I'm talking about child victims now, many children are told, अरे जाके बोल देना अंकल को कि रेप नहीं है, consensual है. The government provides for a victim compensation fund. If you hear of such cases, can you alert the system that इस तंत्र ने इस बच्चे को कहा कि बोल दो जाके तुम्हारे साथ रेप नहीं हुआ, consensual था. If you've seen me in Parliament and you've seen me in the presence of the Chief Justice of India, I have refused to bring down the age of consent. Have we seen 16-year-olds get raped and told, bol do consent hai? So on these two issues, if you can help us, and I'm talking about your fraternity, I think it's a great, great honor you will do to your country, men, women and children.
Definitely, ma'am. We'll look forward. Thank you so much.